One of our favorite things to do at Scenic Route is to upcycle, and that just means changing the original use of the piece of furniture to something completely different. This used to be a secretary, believe it or not. It had the thing in the middle where you stuff all your junk mail where you don't want to see it until you absolutely have to, and then the hutch on top. And we thought, oh, that could be a bathroom vanity. And we've actually turned a lot of different pieces of furniture into bathroom vanities. And so I was thinking about how to paint this other day, and I was looking at it and I thought, you know, I really like the lines and everything on it, but I wanted to spruce it up, and I was going through different ideas on how to do that. And one of the ways was to add wooden detail to it. You can go to Hobby Lobby, you can order on Amazon these wooden detail pieces, and you can just get different ones. And I've used those in the past to glue to the drawers or on the sides of the piece and whatever. I was looking at this and I was like, there's no room over here to put it. And I just didn't think it looked quite right, just putting it on the drawer itself. So I was just looking more and more at these wooden pieces right there. And I think I'm just going to add a piece down here. That just means cutting out an ornate detail piece that I will screw to the bottom of this, and then I'll just add this wooden applique to that. I was also looking at different types of hardware. I think these are lovingly called bat wings by a lot of furniture artists, and I'm choosing to take these off. And even though I'm still going to use a vintage drawer pull, I found that these were more sleek and kind of matched my overall design in my head. So what I need to do that, since these have a single bolt to hold these on, I'm actually going to have to fill the hole in with a dowel rod. You can use wood putty, but I found that sometimes, you know, that'll dip over time. Sometimes the paint acts a little funny and you can still see it after a few coats. So what I like to do is drill out the hole to match the dowel rod, glue it in, wait for it dries, just sand it smooth, and you'll never know that didn't have, or that it had two holes in. Sometimes when I need design inspiration, it's just a simple trip through the house to see what furniture I have that I can borrow ideas from. And I come to this hutch right here. Since I'm needing an ornate piece to put underneath our bathroom vanity, I thought this detail piece right here would be perfect for the wood applique. And what I have to do that is measure the width that I need for the bathroom vanity, mark that on a board that is wide enough and long enough to contain all the detail that I want to add to it, mark that, and then I'm going to go cut this piece of wood so I can show you on how I obtain this design on this piece right here. Once I cut my wood down, that's the width of the vanity that I need, I went ahead and clamped one side, and I done a bunch of measuring, and so I'm just going to be measuring from there to there, since that's how this particular piece is set up, and I only need 18 inches. So I just measure every point to make sure that I'm even on all sides, since I'm only going to be using 18 inches of this design right here. And so I just thought that this pattern will look really nice once I get it all cut out and everything for my bathroom vanity. I am going to leave out these detail pieces right there, and that'll be fine. It'll still be plenty ornate enough once I apply my wood applique to my bathroom vanity. And so now, once I've done all my measuring everything, I was going to mention too, these clamps are really handy, especially if you're trying to do things one-handed. But you're also just going to hold, if you're clamping it like this, you're also just going to want to hold it also while you're marking it with the pencil and get a better angle on it. You have to mark around your clamp. And you're just going around. I'm sorry, I can't see you very well. I'm just going to make sure that making sure I'm getting it all marked, but you're just going to go around your entire detail with a pencil. So hey, now we're outside, and this is the detail piece that we created by tracing the antique cuts that I have. But first I wanted to go over a few power tool safety precautions. First and foremost, you want to keep all your digits intact. And so what that means when you're installing a jigsaw blade is leave the battery out while you're installing the blade. I have a number of blades here, and I'm going to show you, if I can get the package open, which one we're going to use. So we have quite a variety. Each one has its own purpose, just like anything else. And I'm going to go for what's called the scroll blade. It's one of the smallest ones that you can use for a jigsaw. And I'm using a DeWalt jigsaw today, and you notice I do not have the battery in it. So this what makes it safe to install the blade is when the battery is not in it yet. Right here is the mechanism that you pull back, and it releases where the blade goes into right here. And I'm just gonna try to hold this up best I can. And the blade teeth will go, of course, towards the front of your tool, and I'll line it up in there like this. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it has a guide, and so you want to make sure that it's pressed all the way back before you release the lever right there, and then kind of give it a jiggle and make sure that it's in there intact before you start cutting. So I have my blade in there. Now it's safe to go ahead and put the battery on there. So the battery just snaps in like that, no big deal. And my shirt's caught in it. This is the button to make it go. These are buttons to lock it when it's not in use, but anytime it's not in use, especially when you have a child around, I always, if I'm not like right there using it, I always take the battery off. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But always be aware of where the blade is when you're working. And that's that for that. And then I'm going to show you how to, if you're working just with a single board, I don't really have a designated work area, so I'm going to show you how to attach the board to a sawhorse so you can cut it safely as well. Alright, so now I went and got another clamp. This is called a C-clamp because my little yellow ones weren't wide enough to go around the sawhorse board and the board that I'm working on. So these are really easy to use as well. I'm going to scoot my detailed board to the edge here. Hold everything as best you can and tighten the C-clamp down to where it's secure, but not too much where you don't want to leave a dent in your detail. And this should hold it nicely while I cut. I want to mention too, as you're cutting, the jigsaw blade will get hot, and since it's so small, it does have a tendency to bend. So what you need to do, since your jigsaw is heavy, most likely if you're using a battery operated one at least, just to always keep it flush with the board that you're working on. Make sure you don't lean it one way or another, because if you do, your cut will have an angle to it, if that makes sense. So I always try to keep that in mind as I'm cutting. And if you think that the corner is too sharp, go ahead and start from another way. So if you're making it around a corner and you're thinking that the blade it's putting too much strain on it, you can stop there, back up, and then go from another angle. So don't always feel like you have to just go along the line and that you can't, that you're not able to stop. So this corner is tight, and I'm in a bind just because how I have it placed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the other edge. What I'm doing right now is a very tight corner, and what I'm not really pushing the jigsaw through the cut. What I'm doing is just turning it ever so slightly as I'm making the corner. That way I can get in that tight space and I'll still have an even cut. Cut out these small pieces. It is shaping up. I'll have to go back and do these right there as well. And so here is our finished piece right here. What I'll do now is I'll just sand the edges, get any rough spots, make sure that it is all even before I make the pocket holes to attach it to the bathroom vanity. I wanted to throw in a little tidbit as well. If you're working with shapes and this and that and details and you're cutting out one piece, I just wanted to throw in to not disregard the leftover pieces. So this could actually go on maybe somewhere else on the project that I'm working on, or something completely different. And so if your scraps are even and if they're nice looking as well, then don't disregard those. So I just wanted to throw that in there, and just if you're like me and like to recycle as much as possibly can, I like to keep these on hand for future projects. And now we are at our bandsaw. If you remember, I need to cut the dowel rod for the drawer pull holes that I'm not going to be using. Also be very careful of this. This is a blade. Just keep your fingers clear of that blade and you should be fine. When in not operation, always keep it unplugged, and there is a safety button on the side here. That is far as I feel comfortable going without using some sort of pliers or something to hold that. But I only needed 4, and so that's all I'm going to cut. Now that I have everything cut out, what I like to do to sand down in these crevices right there is use a rotary tool of some sort. They come with a variety of different bits. What I like to use is one that is sandpaper right there, so it's just round. It's perfect to fit down in these spots right there. And what that did, it just smoothed out where I started and stopped with the jigsaw, and it made a nice smooth curve in there. The rest of it I can do with hand sanding, and I'll probably just take the orbital sander a little bit maybe and just go along these edges right there just to be quick about it, and maybe a little bit on the top. But as far as smoothing things out, it's not going to take much because I tried to get as even as I possibly can with the jigsaw. And hopefully this detail piece will add a nice touch to my not so ornate bathroom vanity. I'm excited how this project is taking shape. I think that the detail piece that we created outside is just what this needed. It fits in there nicely, and it's just going to add so much more character to this. Even adding the wooden applique is just going to make it that much better. And with that, we hope you click to subscribe and join us on our Facebook page. We always have new projects going on. And until then, enjoy the scenic route. Take care.